We're back, guys. I know we haven't posted in a good minute, and we also read your comments about how you really couldn't hear us on our last video. So as you can see, we got some mics now.
Yeah, in this video, we're going to be reviewing the Crafty Plus by Storz Bickel. Now, this is a dry herb vaporizer, and it's meant for vaporizing your weed. Now, I know this is a new concept to some of you guys that just smoke blunts and joints and bowls, but dry herb vaporizers are a completely different way of smoking weed. Instead of combusting the herb, they heat it to around 400 degrees, which releases the majority of the THC crystals, and then you'll go ahead and inhale it and get high like regular.
So the difference is, and what a lot of y'all are going to be pleased to find out, is that when you're using dry herb vaporizers, you get on average to use about 40% more of your bud. The reason being is because when you combust your flower with the flame, it's way too hot and it ends up destroying a big part of that THC in the flower. So that's why companies have gotten smart and made these over the years in order for you to get a cleaner hit, less harmful for your lungs. It stretches out your flower more, and it's just the fancier way to smoke your preferred herbs.
Yeah, and another thing to mention about dry herb devices is that these are the preferred devices in uses of hospitals and for more medical uses of marijuana versus smoking it. So like Cesar said, if you're looking for like a healthier, cleaner hit, this might be the right option for you. So now moving into the review, just looking at the device, it doesn't look too special on the outside. Has a small mouthpiece on the top, and has like a power on button on one side and looks like a tool on the other side with the charger.
One thing I want to say about the Crafty is that this is a higher end dry herb vaporizer. This is going to run you about how much? How much you pay for that one?
$300.
$300, and we're going to be comparing it to some cheaper alternatives such as the White Rhino, the Hit, and the Wolf Flora that do pretty similar things. It's just we decided to go with the Crafty on this review because it's just the top notch that we want to release for you.
Yeah, so we're going to be going into some pros and cons of this device specifically, and then at the end we're going to tell you if it's really worth $300 and well what else you can do with that money. So here at the Golden Leaf Lab, we always test these products, and right now I got some of the iconic CBD flower, and we're gonna go ahead and pack it into this bowl right here.
Yeah, we're gonna be using that CBD flower.
So another thing to mention about the Crafty is that it does come with sort of a pod system, which is something that you'll usually find in dry herb vaporizers over around the $100 range. And what that is just basically like a small metal pod that you can fill in and just put it into the chamber so you won't have to pack it in every time. This is great for someone that wants to like exactly measure their doses, or someone that wants to like prepare their smoking for the next day or the next week. But right now we're just going to be packing it in directly into the chamber, and that actually allows us to put in a bigger amount.
Something that I like about the dry herb vaporizers that utilize a pod system is that the chamber itself, when you only use the pods, doesn't get as dirty, or it doesn't really get dirty at all when you compare it to something like these vaporizers right here, where you just directly put your herb into the chamber. Over 3 to 4 uses, it starts to get all sticky and dirty, and you have to be cleaning it and cleaning it. So that's why I prefer using the pods than just directly putting your flower into it. But I mean, to each their own, everybody has their own preferences.
Yeah, that's a great point about cleaning it, because usually when you spend this much on a device, you're going to want to have a very structured cleaning schedule with this. If you're using it every day, you do want to clean this like every week or every 2 weeks. Take out the top, do a deep cleaning to make sure that it works in the best way that it can.
Yeah, especially when you're spending top dollar on these devices, you always want to maintain them well so they can last you. I mean, I think the Storz Bickel, every product by Storz Bickel has a lifetime warranty. This is the same brand that made the OG Volcano, that is like a huge tabletop dry herb vaporizer. I'm pretty sure y'all seen it before. This is like the more portable version of that.
So to operate the Storz Bickel, or the Crafty Plus, you have to click the button here and it's going to turn red. So once it turns green, which takes around 30 to 45 seconds, then it'll be ready to use. So once it buzzes and turns green, that means it's ready to use.
So on camera, it might look like you're not smoking anything, and that's because you're not. You're vaporizing your bud. You're not gonna see a lot of smoke production or vapor production, just the bare minimum, but the effects are there.
So one thing to mention about the Crafty Plus compared to other dry herb vaporizers is that it's really smooth when you hit it. A lot of other dry herb vaporizers, you really got to pull hard, but this one, it allows for a lot more airflow and you can get bigger hits compared to other vaporizers.
That's true. Sometimes with these smaller vaporizers, you really have to suck it to get any vapor out of it.
So now I'm going to be showing you guys one of my favorite things about the Storz Bickel, and what really was a deciding factor in me for buying it is this attachment here, which allows you to put it into a bong.
So one thing to know is that right now we're hitting it at the lowest temperature. The Crafty comes with 3 preset temperature modes. And then also they have an application on your phone that you can download and choose the temperature to the exact degree. So that's something very, very neat and very, very advanced technology when it comes to a dry herb vaporizer.
So now with that buzz and the green light, it's ready to use. And I'm actually going to be turning it up to the next temperature, which is what this blinking means.
Let me see that. So just because I'm coughing, it doesn't mean that wasn't smooth. It's super smooth.
Yeah, there's really no other handheld dry herb vaporizer that I've ever tried that can deliver hits the size of the Crafties. So that's definitely a pro and probably one of the main attractions to the Crafty. But for the price, it is very expensive, and we're also going to be diving into some of the cons and some of the drawbacks of the Crafty compared to the other vaporizers that we have here.
But for sure, the main pro is that you can hit it out of a bong like that.
Yeah, and that was the main deciding factor for me, was the fact that it has a bong attachment that you can fit into a bong. It really changes it and adds like a whole new level of smoothness to it, to an already smooth hit.
For sure.
But moving on to the cons of the Crafty, you may or may not have noticed because of the editor, but the Crafty does take a little while to heat up compared to other dry herb vaporizers. I don't know why. It's just the battery or the heating mechanism that they use takes a little bit longer to heat up. So that's one thing to keep in mind about the Crafty. And another drawback about the Crafty that I would say is that the maximum temperature, I believe, is only around 420 to 430 Fahrenheit. And compared to other dry herb vaporizers, there are some that do burn a little bit higher. So that's going to allow you to get, that little last squeeze out of the bud compared to this, which for me wasn't a huge factor. But I know some people do really want to get every single bit of THC that they can out of their flower, or CBD, sorry.
Yeah.
And so that might be a factor for them. And just stemming off from that point about trying to get the most that you can out of your bud, the Crafty has a low battery life. So if you're someone that likes to smoke all day, you're smoking maybe at the top of every hour, multiple times per hour, the Crafties might not be the right product for you, because it does have an estimated battery life of around 60 minutes of active use time. And for me, I'm not a heavy smoker. I smoke maybe like a few times a week, if even that. So the Crafty is a great product for me, and the battery life doesn't make a huge difference for me.
Yeah, I would say though, the biggest con of the Crafty is that it's $300. So Unless you're ready to spend the big bucks on your smoking setup, then I would stick to other devices that do similar things. For example, the Wolf Flora, depending on where you get it, it's only going to run you about $80 to $100. So that's a third of the price for a device that essentially does the same thing or a very, very similar thing. You know what I'm saying? The Crafty obviously has different mouthpieces. You can hit it out of a bong, it looks nicer, it has the lifetime warranty and all that. But you can achieve the same effects with something that's relatively more easier on the wallet. It's not going to break the bank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and another product that we have here that is also less than half the price of the Crafty is a Rhino right here, the white Rhino by Hilo. And something to mention about this is that it has an LED or LCD display screen, which is something that the Crafty does not come with. I know a lot of people like to see the exact temperature that they're vaping at directly from their device. Now, Crafty does have an app to make up for this, to make up for the fact that they don't have a screen, but that's just something to mention as well.
Yeah. So that was it for the video, guys. Just a quick review on the Crafty. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe. Comment down below what other devices you would like us to review. And if you'd like to check it out, we're probably going to leave a link in the description below for all of these devices. Thank you so much, and you have a great week.